Hello. So after the last one, we learned how to move things around and how to rotate things and how to delete things. So we're actually going to start this one off again after deleting everything. I'm just going to get my view down here and I'll turn on screencast keys just in case you need reminding, so you can see that down here. So in this one, our goal is going to be to import a Roblox character. We're going to import a rig, and we're going to put all the stuff we want onto the rig and pose it. So first thing you want to do is, one thing you will notice, I have not opened the rig file. I've opened a default file, and I'm going to go to File, and I'm going to go to Append. I'm going to go to where I've got my rig. I'm going to append that in. And I'm going to go from that screen, I'm going to go Objects, and I actually want all of that. We have the rig. There are a couple of things we actually have to do with this, but we're not going to do it yet. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select this bottom base plate, and I'm just going to move him out the way. I'm going to lock it to the x-axis, and I'm holding control so that it's locking to a spot, so it's easy to move back. Let's get that out of the way for now. So we've got our rig. I'm using Paint Rig V3, by the way, which is very easy to acquire anywhere on the internet, or if you're in any of the servers, then I expect you can grab it off of anyone there as well. I will provide it with the upload when I do it. Next up, we're going to go again, File, Import. This time I'm going to go for OBJ. I'm actually looking in the same file for this, so it'll be again wherever you've saved your Roblox character that you've exported from Roblox Studio, and bring that one in. Give it a second. Here we are. So I think I mentioned it last time, but everything comes in backwards when you use Roblox Studio and stuff. That's something that will get very annoying, but we'll work with it for now, and I'll show you how to fix it later. Now, one thing I'm going to quickly show you is, if you can see, colors don't seem to be correct. We've got one little file up here, and there seems to be nothing on it. And if we go back onto Solid again, I got the item selected with right click. I'm going to click up here, and we're going to go over to shading. You'll notice there is no material assigned. So we've got it selected, so we know we're on the right one. I'm going to go Shift A, which is the add box, which means I could also click here and click add and get the same one. And I want a texture, because that's what we're looking for, and I have an image for it. So I'm going to select that one, and I'm going to connect that up, and it'll suddenly look like this when it's done. Or it will just stay black apparently. Usually it'll change to a bright pink, so if that happens, then that's fine. Again, I know where mine is. Put that in, and there we have it. So that is our Roblox character. But I'm going to go back over to the layout because I prefer it. You can technically do everything you'd need to do in there, but you'll notice I've got no grid, which makes some things a little bit more awkward. So I prefer personally to go to layout. You'll also notice that when I click things, and I usually use G to move stuff, if you prefer, if you go up to the top right up here, which is the gizmo settings, you can click that one. And then under Object Gizmos, you can select Move, and you can get this slider if you want it. You can also select them up here. But personally, I am someone that just likes to use the cursor, and I don't like too many unnecessary gizmos. I prefer to use the commands, which is obviously G. So you'll notice that these characters, although they are the same, one of our characters has different assets on. You'll also notice I can't select the body parts on this one other than the head for some reason. I'll show you how to fix that later as well. So first of all, select this body. Let's have a quick look. So first thing I probably want to do is I'm actually going to start selecting some of this body. Notice I select a lot of that at the same time. That's fine. I'm actually going to select all of it. I'm going to go vertex, and I'm going to go merge vertices by distance, because that will remove a lot of vertices that just aren't necessary, which is 7,323 vertices are where they're just overlapping because Roblox Studio doesn't know how to make characters. Now I'm going to just delete bits I don't want, which for me is going to be both the head and the body. As you see, it's already looking better. But now I can just go grab this one again, bring it back. Now if I press render, we're going to have the pink one, but we're going to have that stuff on him, or her. Now if I select the head here, I go shading, we've actually got two things plugged up. Quickly I'm going to put the texture in and check it again. You notice almost immediately we're basically done. However, at the moment, if I move this, it's bound wrong. So what I want to do is I'm going to take this part of the head, and what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to take this bag, okay, because it's going to be awkward. Okay, I'm just going to press Z, hold Z down, go to wireframe, go on to side view with 3, and I'm actually going to just select the bag. So to do this, I'm pressing C. I am in edit mode, by the way, and obviously I don't want the head bit there, so I'm going to deselect that, which is middle mouse, by the way. Middle mouse to select. I'm using left click to select, but it could be right click if you have right click on. I'm just going to separate these two parts. Go back into solid by holding Z, just to quickly check that, and that's fine. Now press P and separate by selection. All that does is make these two separate objects. One thing you have noticed now that this is clearly not made for a Roblox character. It's not the right shape at all, but that's fine. Alright, and give me 2 seconds. Okay. Sorry, I need to go to the toilet. Very professional of me. So, yeah, so at the moment, if we move the character themselves, it doesn't take the rest of it with them. So we're going to select this top piece, which is now separated from the bag. And what I'm going to do is run the attachments, and all we need to do is attach it. So first we want to select the head, this piece, the hair piece. Then we want to hold shift down and select just that little cube. Then I'm going to hold control, P, set parent to object. Now that's attached. Next up I'm going to do the same, but I want to attach to a different part, which is this one. So I'm going to select it, then select that, set parent to object. Sorry, set parent to object. Now everything should be attached. Perfect. It's much better. Another thing that we can do now is that if we press 1, we're looking at the back of the character, which is quite annoying. So I'm going to press 7. I'm quickly just going to, with just that base plate selected, don't need anything else selected, press R, shift it round, and I'm going to hold control just to make sure that it's even, and left click. Brilliant. That's all I had to do there. See, we've now got our character. We should have all the textures assigned. Got the bag on. That's definitely not made for a Roblox character. Cool. Now if we select this bottom base plate and press up where it says object mode and pose mode, we have a couple of different options. So now anything that's lit up with a slightly orangey colour is something that we can move. So I can bend the arms like this, both ways, and I can pull the arm off, or I can just rotate the arm, can grab this bottom piece, shift the legs up like this, pull that around, shift it like that. Apologies, my Alexa is talking to me. Shift the head as well. There's a lot I can do with this. But a lot of people have issues with posing, so what we're actually going to do is one I prepared earlier theme here, but I have some poses. I'm really going to just rotate those up, put them about there. So these are some natural poses. So we can choose from any of these, and we'll attempt to somewhat imitate it. I think maybe one like this, where it's slightly side on, because that might work well for just like reserving a little bit of space. So the first thing I'm going to do, because it's slightly side on, is I'm actually going to turn the character slightly off that, perhaps a little bit more than that. So they've got one leg which is supporting and the other leg which is slightly hovering, which means I need to tilt the body slightly, which is more like this, which means this leg, obviously to not go through the floor now, needs to come up, and this whole body part needs to come down, but we haven't actually got that body distortion at the top, so we still want sort of up a bit. Probably don't want it that hard. Okay, yeah, so we've sort of got it there now. There isn't much bend in the arm there, but we are going to put a little in anyway, just to make it look right. I'm going to pull it off slightly. Let's have a look at the camera, so I'm going to rotate there. The good thing about this is if I angle it right, I might be able to get a little bit of the bag in the shot. Except we want to bring the arm up, which means I'm going to have to rotate the arm around as well. So Roblox arms aren't as long as an actual person's arm, so we're going to be slightly off, but that's fine. This is it gives us the right idea. Obviously in the real world the elbow should be about here, so it should be further out, but sadly don't really have that option. However, we can pull the arm forward a bit, as it should be forward more than where it is, but I don't want to make it look too odd for the reverse eye side of it. Okay, now if we quickly check what that looks like. Oh, there we go, we've got a somewhat realistic pose there. As close as we can get in a sort of a Roblox model. But that would be a very short video, so what we'll do is we'll light it up a bit. I don't actually need this anymore, I'm not going to delete it, I'm just going to hide it, which I can do with those little eyes at the top. Which you can do with anything as well, so I can hide the bones. So what we're going to do next is, you'll notice we've got this annoying grid shape throughout the model, and we can't select it to remove it. So what we're going to do is I'm going to hide this poses here. I'm also going to hide that. You'll notice that the hair itself is mostly fine, but could still probably do with a little bit more detail on it. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go add modifier, subdivision surface. That looks horrible, so I might not use that. I could probably clean that up a bit. What it needs is a lot of cleaning up. We won't do that. But I'm going to select this, row bone in the outlier. So this section up here is the outliner. This allows us to select different parts of the mesh without actually just right-clicking it. So it's very, very useful. Head attachments, we've attached a head, we've got different attachments. Dark Games, I'm assuming is, oh, apparently the head. Not, oh, I see, yeah, that's just a head. And then you've got the left leg. So this left leg will be that one there. And we want to make it selectable so that we can add modifiers to it. Obviously there is apparently already a modifier on it, but we don't want just that. I would like to see how many subdivisions that gives us. Still get those little grid shapes, so I don't want that. So what I'm going to do is, now I've got it selected, I can go Object and Shade Smooth, but it won't work because it's actually not selectable in the viewport. So with left leg selected, I'm going to click on this little button here, which is Object Properties, and then go to Viewport Display. No, not Viewport Display. No, I've got to find where it is. There we go. Visibility. Selectable. Now I'm able to right click it. Annoyingly, there isn't really a way of going through all of these. You have to just do it. And for some reason the left leg is labelled left leg and the right leg is labelled Medulla 5. I'm not really sure why. But now I can just select that as selectable. And if I check the modifiers, there should also be a modifier on this. Brilliant. And also to fix those lines, I can now go Object, Shade Smooth. Same with this one, because you get those little lines that you can see which are shading errors. Shade Smooth. Medulla 6. Again, I'm going to put the subdivisions up on this. I go to this one, make it selectable, select it, Shade Smooth. Medulla 8, make it selectable, select it, put those subdivisions up, and then Object, Shade Smooth, and then for the torso, put those subdivisions up, make it selectable, Object, Shade Smooth. So now it should all be nice and smooth. If we check this one, see if we can make this one subdivided, or does it look horrible? I don't think it looks that bad when you subdivide this. Maybe the nose bit. A little bit gross. So we won't subdivide that. But so we've now got our character, we've got our pose. We're currently in Eevee. We can obviously swap to cycles, and the texture will work exactly the same. It's actually slightly brighter in cycles for some reason. It's usually a lot darker in cycles and then brighter in Eevee. But oh no, it's not. It's probably slightly darker in cycles. Yeah, slightly darker in cycles. Yep, so this is the character currently. And what we'll do for the next episode, I'll work on lighting it up. And then we'll get some lights in, we'll get a light room in, and we won't be bringing in one, we're going to be making a light room. So I can show you how to make your own. And then we might also use HDRIs, just so we can go over it. Brilliant. Thanks for watching, and I hope I've been useful.